بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. One of the very important aspects in the journey of the believer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to review the base or let's say, the base and the foundation that provide them tranquility. Because everyone in this world, they are striving, struggling to attain a point where they find, that tranquility, that serenity, that peace. And then, subhanAllah, their daily life, their worrying, every aspect that they endure is like snatching them, take them away from, or rip that tranquility apart, take it away, and so on. The believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warned us and instructed us that the foundation of the tranquility should not be anything associated with this worldly life, which is mean vowed to be perished. Look, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described for us a vivid scene of those who are going to come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after the coming up of the hour, in the day of judgment, describing how the angels will be surrounding the whole heaven and the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the greatest of the creation ever, will be held by 8 number of the angels. So we said ثمانية in the absolute, but we know it's 8, but how much 8? How much 8, So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only knows such a thing. قال يومئذ تعرضون لا تخفى منكم خافية. This is, subhanAllah, very profound. At the day when you're going to be presented and you come in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لا تخفى منكم خافية. Someone wants do they have in this dunya to conceal things, to keep secret things, to hide things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, whatever when you're standing, nothing is hidden. لا تخفى منكم. Nothing hidden could be hidden to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you can hide it. So it's like someone, when he's standing, everything is clear, open, and known by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لا تخفى منكم خافية. So that's why anyone who will be like giving excuses and swearing and things, because one of the shocking things that still people at that time, they still think and believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's missing things, that He does not know many things. That's why there will be قال يوم يبعثهم الله جميعا فيحلفون. They will be like swearing by Allah, getting like the strongest oath. Ya Allah, we never did this. I mean, you're lying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قال فيحلفون لكم كما يحلفون الله سبحانه وتعالى, as they used to do it in the dunya. Those are the true liars. And you see them like swearing and saying, this is not, we never have done this. For subhanAllah, the state of a human being will be the same. So someone, if he was crooked in this life, he's gonna be resurrected crooked, his mind crooked, his perception is crooked. And then when he will see all the evidence, that there's no way of escape. There is no way of escape. For the person who's gonna be receiving his record with his left hand, he's going to be like, he wished that it was the end, that it was the true death, that it was a death without coming back. يا ليتها كانت القاضية, يا ليتها كانت القاضية. The end, it will be like, subhanAllah, no coming back. And the first thing that people, they love, subhanAllah, in this dunya, look, 2 aspects. If you see the majority of the people today, there's 2 desires which really define their path. The first desire is about money, because believing the money is what provides security, provides safety, provides tranquility, provides serenity. قال ما أغنى عني مالي. That money that I have collected didn't help me a lot. ما أغنى عني مالي. The second aspect of desire that people, they also, run to get and to attain is power. قال هلك عني سلطاني. you don't have any power, no sovereignty, no ruling, that's it, you don't have anything. The mulk is all to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the second blow in the trumpet happened, because the first one is the first swoon, قَالَ فَزِعَ, everyone will be horrified, what's going on? And then the second one is where everyone will die. Everything will die, including all the angels. Everything will die, except what Allah will. And the scholar, they said, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in paradise. They will be spared from this swoon, but everyone will die. At that moment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will say, لِمَنِ الْمُلْكُ الْيَوْمِ, to whom belongs the kingdom? Nobody answers. There's no one who will answer. No king, no president, no, millionaires. Everybody died. No angel, nothing. Why? Because the absolute kingdom is in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قال يقول الله سبحانه لمن الملك اليوم, to whom belongs this kingdom? This is a reality for us to remind ourselves. We don't have anything. Everything you own, you don't have it. When you go to the grave, what's you going to take anything? So it's a fact, it's a reality. Then when you come to the day of judgment, you're going to be disputing and fighting to save your own self. يَوْمَ تَأْتِي كُلُّ نَفْسٍ تُجَادِلُ عَنْ نَفْسِهَا. Every soul is going to come and they try to begin disputing things just to free themselves. Not thinking about money, nothing. Everything is gone. Everything. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, لِمَنِ الْمُلْكُ الْيَوْمِ, to whom belong all the kingdom and the sovereignty today? Nobody answers. So Allah answered Himself. قَالَ لِلَّهِ الْوَاحِدِ الْقَهَارِ. Be a person who submit to Allah al-Wahid al-Qahar. When you do that, then you realize it's impossible that the money or the power or the sovereignty or anything that the people of the worldly life who indulge themselves into the gains of this worldly life will help us. And it's impossible also to provide for you the tranquility or the serenity. Then how can we have to gain that tranquility? How can we? SubhanAllah, some of the scholars, min Ahl al-Ilmi, studying this aspect, he said, there's two ways into the life of the believer. There's what you do it, outward, salat, zakat, but the most important is inward. That's when you connected with the outward, then you're going to have the balance. What is in the inward, that's subhanAllah conflicting with what you're doing into the outward, your salat and everything, which is disturbing, taking away your khushu', keep you always perplexed, bewildered, is the thiqatu, if your subhanAllah, your confidence into your rizq. The confidence into your rizq. The less confidence you have in your rizq, the more your situation is not stable. Therefore, when people, they try to find that confidence or gain that confidence, what they do? They put all their effort in the accumulation of money. Why? Because subhanAllah, the trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not enough for them to have that confidence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the provider. So the impediment here is that lack of confidence makes someone on his path, on her path, to be worshipping Allah on edge. On edge. What it means, edge? As long as they have good provision, ease life, they're always grateful to Allah. When they are hit by difficulties, then they forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قالوا من الناس من يعبد الله على حرف فإن أصابه خير اطمأن به اطمأن. This is the tranquility. If good touch them, they feel so good. وإن أصابته فتنة, if he's gone through a fitna, trials, tribulations, قال انقلب على وجهه, he turned on his face. This person خسر الدنيا, he lost his life in this dunya and he lost in the hereafter. When you look at the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the believers, to try to not fall into this type of worship who's going to corrupt all his life. Therefore, we need to reflect that serenity and that peace inside toward your provision, you need to have it in your inward, in relation with Allah, not in the relation with your bank account. Because people, when they look at their bank account, they feel good. But when it goes down, they feel sad. So the base of the swinging of their emotion is what they have. To keep it stable, therefore, you're going to free yourself from that, subhanAllah, change of the corrupted belief, is to trust Allah that He has promised you, not actually promised you, it is out of the structure of the creation. قال الله الذي خلقكم ثم رزقكم. It's an aspect, it's something given. Created you, then provided you. وَمَا مِن دَابَةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ رِزْقُهَا. There is no walking creature on the earth, but is upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala its provision. وَكَأَيٍّ مِّن دَابَةٍ لَا تَحْمِلُ رِزْقَهَا اللَّهُ يَرْزُقُهَا وَإِيَّاكُمْ. How many, he said, look around you, how many creatures, how many animals, they don't carry their rizq on their back. Look at did you see, for example, the animals around, everyone is carrying his rizq, has a bag, the squirrels outside, or the bunnies, see them always running. Nobody is carrying any rizq. Allah telling you, وَكَأَيِّن لَا تَحْمِلُ رِزْقَهَا. You see them, they not carry it. And they say, Allahu yarzuq, is Allah who's provided them. وَإِيَّاكُمْ, and you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invites us even to have a reflection. Not talking about lions, wolves. No, at your backyard, when you're driving, you see them. Nobody is carrying their rizq, he said, subhanAllah. And they are like happy, running, And they provided. He said, this is how you too, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provide for you. قال وأمر أهلك بالصلاة واصطبر عليها لا نسألك رزقا نحن نرزقك. Enjoin to your family, to your people, to your relative, to establish prayer. Ordain them to establish prayer. We are not asking you to take care of your provision or to come up with anything to provide. نحن نرزقك is Allah, as we provide for you. Now we see in this ayah, the salah is the outward, but the salah will only be focused and devoted when you find the serenity into your heart and the confidence toward the rizq. Because Allah telling you, just take care of yourself, take care of your family, establish a prayer. The rizq, I'll take care of it. نحن نرزقك. And the good end is for the pious. Now the biggest problem, dear brother, respected sister, if you will not think to gain that confidence toward the rizq, then we'll continue not trusting in Allah. And this is actually lead to the corruption or the corruption of our creed. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's telling you, I am Al-Qayyum. Al-Qayyum, the one, subhanAllah, who's taking care of everything. So when you fail to have that confidence, it's like you're questioning the attribute and the name of Allah Al-Qayyum. So once someone said he's always bewildering and anxious about his rizq, he said, hold on, do you know that you are not believing? It's like you said, yeah, Allah, I believe in you, but your name Al-Qayyum, I don't believe in it. I have an issue with it. Why? Because I cannot feel trusted that my rizq is going to be secured. And that is a problem. Therefore, in these last days of Ramadan, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you that, to instill that confidence in your heart. Because it's a fact, it's a reality. It is the truth. We only need steps of our heart to attain that level. And then you'll see how your salat change, and you see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be always with you. Because we are heedless, we are not seeing His help subhanahu wa ta'ala toward us. I finish with the story related by Al-Asma'i. There is a Bedouin, he came to the Medina of Baghdad, riding, his horse and has his spear, not knowing anything about Islam. He saw like a big place where people they enter and come and enter, and Al-Asma'i was by the stairs or by outside. So he said, "What this?" He said, "This is the masjid." He said, "Masjid? What's masjid?" He said, "The masjid where people who pray." Say, "Pray to who?" He said, "Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." He said, "Oh, there's a place where people they pray to Allah." He said, "How can we, connect?" He said, "Don't you know the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?" He said, "Allah sent for us words." He said, "Yes." So he was so, subhanAllah, invested and overwhelmed about all these things he didn't know. So he had him to accept the faith and everything. He said, "Can you read for me some of the Quran?" So he read for him some of the ayat of Surah Al-Dhariyat. In this ayat, he's saying, قال إن المتقين في جنات وعيون. They are the muttaqeen, they're going to be in gardens and things. Those who were before in this life, muhsinun, they are the good doers. They stand in the night praying. They make istighfar at the time of before Fajr al-Ashar. They give sadaqah, And then قال وفي الأرض آيات للموقنين. And in this earth, there are a lot of signs and miracles for the people who seek certainty in their heart. And within yourself, great signs to help you understand how great Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. You told him, enough. I never heard such a beautiful thing. And he left. Another day came back to check with Al-Asma'i so he can, give him more portion to give him get the iman. He said, "Can you please give me more?" So Al-Asma'i, he continued to read the same ayat that he was finishing. قال وفي الأرض آيات للموقنين وفي أنفسكم أفلا تبصرون وفي السماء رزقكم وما توعدون. And in the heaven is your rizq, and whatever you are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon. Then he looked at him, and he has his spear with me, like this is how he gained his rizq. And then he continued, Al-Asma'i قال فَوَرَبِّ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ إِنَّهُ لَحَقٌّ مِثْلَ مَا أَنْتُمْ تَنْطِقُونَ. By the Lord of the heaven and the earth, it is as true as the fact you're speaking. This Bedouin started to cry. He said, "Who had doubt Allah for Allah to swear by His greatness that this is the truth? I've been living all my life, I never have been in shortage of rizq." Crying. And he said, "If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guarantee for me, I'll give you everything that I will gain my rizq with, my spear, my horse, and I want to be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." The moral of the story, when you hear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving His oath to tell you your rizq is not in the earth, is in the hand of Allah, and is as true as the fact you're speaking. إِنَّهُ لَحَقٌّ مِثْلَ مَا أَنَّكُمْ تَنْطِقُونَ. So if any one of us has an issue of worrying about his rizq, look at yourself how you speak, and you say, "Subhanallah, my rizq is going to come to me exactly as I'm certain about myself speaking. That's how I should be certain that my rizq is going to come to me." When you then help yourself to have that certainty into your heart, look how your life will change. Because you gain that serenity, you gain that confidence, and then you're going to see it with yourself, how Allah is watching over you as He was watching over you before, but we could not see it because we didn't have that confidence. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestow upon us the itma'nan toward the rizq, and the belief that Allah is Al-Qayyum, and the belief in all His beautiful name, to help us have tranquility and serenity and uprightness on the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to the salat. Wa barakallahu fikum.